Hey, what's going on? Reaching out to you guys, Abdel Khawatmi, Paramount Residential Mortgage Group. What I want to touch base with us is actually what are closing costs. So closing costs are fees that are incurred when you're currently purchasing a home. Now, I tend to like to split closing costs into two. Closing costs are third-party fees, such as your title, your attorney, your recording fees, and the standard bank origination fees. And then you also have a portion of your closing costs, which is called your prepaids and escrow. We're going to dive into every single closing cost that generally come up in a transaction so you can accurately get an understanding of what you're reading or what's anticipated from your loan estimate and your closing disclosure when you're purchasing a home. So closing costs, generally the first step when you're reading a loan estimate, Section A tends to be your bank origination fees. That's a standard bank origination that can range from anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 depending on the institution. It's usually broken down into different variables of what they're called. They're called origination fees, processing fees, underwriting fees, application fees, things of that nature. Sometimes within that section too, you also have something called origination points. So if you're working with a direct mortgage lender, we here like to give you the option of buying down your interest rate, or you could simply take exactly what's being offered to you at 100% par. So for example, if you currently have an interest rate that's being offered to you of about 3.5%, but you're looking to get something lower, my team and I actually give you the opportunity to pay what's called discount points and drop your interest rate to, let's say, hypothetically 3.25%. Now, of course, there's a fee that comes associated with that. It doesn't go to the mortgage lender, but it's the fee to drop your interest rate down for a fixed 30-year, 15-year, whatever mortgage program that you have. Generally, that cost, that discount point will be disclosed to you, and you could find it under subsection A of your loan estimate. The next section that you have is subsection B, generally on a loan estimate or a closing disclosure, and usually within those fees is a couple of things. You'll have your appraisal fee, which is the cost, obviously, of a third-party appraisers to go out to the property. Now, generally, those are paid in advance. If they are paid in advance, at your final closing disclosure, they will eventually be moved on the right-hand side of the loan estimate or closing disclosure, meaning it's already been paid outside of closing. You'll also have on there, in some instances, a reinspection fee or a desk review fee. So those fees don't always come up, but in some instances, if there are repairs that are flagged by the appraiser and the appraiser needs to go back out to the property, you're going to have to obviously compensate them. Generally, it ranges from $150 to $200 within that cost, depending on what the third-party appraiser charges. Again, if those fees are not incurred, then on the final CD, they will be removed entirely. Another fee that may come up on there is a credit report fee. Credit report fee is actually something that, depending on the lender that you work with, they are the only fee that can be charged in advance, or they're generally charged at the end of the final CD when invoices are collected. And then you also have on there, if you're getting an FHA loan, there is something called mortgage insurance premium, or also known as upfront mortgage insurance, UFMIP. As of right now, that fee is 1.75% of your loan amount. Now, that fee is not paid for up front. You do have a choice to do it, but generally a lot of consumers have that 1.75% rolled into the loan. So if you ever take a look at your section and notice that your closing costs are a little high, keep an eye on that upfront mortgage insurance premium, because it will generally be reflected in your loan amount. Where your loan amount is your sales price minus your down payment, and then added on top of that would be that 1.75% upfront mortgage insurance premium that is added on the loan. There are instances where that fee gets refunded. If you refinance or exit that loan, you can contact my team and I directly to discuss that further. The next part that you have is your survey fee, which again is generally disclosed, but in some instances is not required. Us, with the majority of our loans and properties, we usually do not require a survey fee. Of course, your attorney and title company can confirm that. And in addition to this subsection, you'll also see your title fees is usually in there as well. Generally, depending on the loan amount and a few other circumstances, your title fees can range from anywhere from $2,500 to about $4,000, again, depending on the specific title company. You'll also have your recording fees, which depending on the local municipality, what they charge, usually it's about $300 to $400 from what I've seen, for them to record your title, your deed, and your name within public records. And then you'll also have right under that, you'll have your transfer taxes. So in the state of New Jersey, for a majority of our transactions, usually the seller is the one that pays the transfer taxes. That is something that you want to make sure you confirm with your attorney, because sometimes during attorney review, that is negotiated, especially with the competitiveness of the market, as to the buyer paying the transfer taxes or even a portion of those transfer taxes. So the next part, these two is your prepaids and escrow. This is what I was mentioning to you earlier in regards to the two different portions of how I generally take a look at these closing costs. Prepaids and escrow is usually done when you're currently purchasing a home and you're either putting less than 20% down, or even if you're putting 20% down and you want to make one mortgage payment to your lender, including your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance, and the mortgage lender will be the one to service your loan and make those payments accordingly to every single third party. So when it comes to the prepaid side, you will generally have to pay 12 months of insurance up front, along with 3 months of taxes within your prepaid. That money is held on the side for you, whether that your insurance increases, your taxes increases, or anything of that nature. The lender has that ability. It's usually paid up front and kept on the side for you. Then you also have your escrow. Your escrow, once again, for insurance, the bank generally holds about 2 months of escrows for insurance and 2 months of taxes as well for insurance held on escrow. Once again, if it increases or decreases, the bank has the opportunity to tap into that or have you pay for it. Again, touch base with your mortgage lender to confirm. And then the last fees that you usually see here is two different ones. Generally, it's your buyer's attorney fee. Depending on what your buyer's attorneys charge, in the state of New Jersey, you are allowed to obviously obtain an attorney in order to represent you during attorney review. So generally, from what I've seen, attorneys usually charge anywhere from $1,200 to $1,700, $1,500 being the median of what we generally disclose. And then you also have an owner's title insurance policy. You always see optional on there, but that is something I always recommend to our clients, so you're protected in case any judgments or bankruptcies or anything of that nature may come back tied to the property. Title insurance protects you from you personally being obligated for it. So that's about it. So again, make sure that when you're purchasing a home, you have your closing costs currently itemized or have an understanding with your loan officer as to what the total expected cash to close is, which is your total down payment plus your total closing costs. If you add those two, you definitely want to game plan with your loan officer along with all the professionals representing you that you have the adequate funds to close. Again, guys, my name is Abdel Khawatmi, Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, with my team, the Mortgage Buds. If you have any questions whatsoever, contact me directly, 201-679-0422, or you could visit my personal website, www.gotmortgagesnj.com. Thanks, guys, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day.